The Podcasting Dead is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe for more podcasts. And while you're at it, drop us a like. If you want to help support the channel and have access to extra content, secret contests, and more, make sure to search for us on Patreon. Patreon.com/thepodcastingdead.
All right, and here we are to review another episode of The Walking Dead. Daryl Dixon, an episode I cannot pronounce. This is episode 3. Seth, do you care to try to pronounce that?
Paris, Sera Toujours Paris.
Dude, that's probably 1,000 times better than I would have pronounced it. I'd have put too much redneck in it and be like, Paris, Sera Toujours Paris. But I'm Justin, he's Seth. And we're here to discuss episode 3 of the Daryl Dixon show. And Seth, I will say 3 episodes in, I think I'd stand pretty firm by my what I said last podcast that I like this better than the Maggie Negan spinoff. What do you think?
Oh yeah, by a long shot. Now I caught myself having to be like, no, put my phone down, because there was a scene where the dude with the face tattoo was like talking to some chick, and I kind of like zoned out. So
I'm with you. It's just, The Walking Dead it's incredible because the show has produced some of the most incredible villains in any shows ever, but they've also produced a long line of very lackluster villains that you just do not care about. And I feel like this guy kind of falls. Now, I will say, kind of contradicting myself, but I, believe it or not, find the Croat to be a little bit more of an interesting villain than I do this guy. This guy is like, oh, you killed my brother. Oh, wee. I'm going to kill you, Daryl. And that's just the gist of it. But you and your brother were scumbags to begin with, and your brother died because he was a scumbag, and he effed with the wrong mother effer. And now you want revenge. At least the Croat has, I don't know, some method to his madness.
I feel like Tattoo Face guy is kind of like a mid boss. Like he's not really the big bad of the season.
I want the big reveal to be like, this is the French version of the CRM or something. Like I need some connection here. Like I want, maybe the last episode they pan out and it's like, I don't know, whatever the French version of CRM. Do they use the same letters we do? I think they do. But, like CRM to be on the side of the ship as it pans out or something. Like, I need some connection. You got Maggie and Negan, Daryl, now Rick and Michonne are coming up next. I need these shows to connect.
Yeah, I don't know too much about French alphabet. I didn't take very much foreign language in school, but
I did. I took like 1 year of French, but most of my extracurricular was Spanish. So for our French or European listeners, please excuse my ignorance. I promise. I just don't know. I think they use the same letters we do. There's just a lot more apostrophes. Well, whatever this is. Let's see.
Yeah, something like that.
Maddie Williams says the little girl was sad, but she has been there for 12 years. Seeing that little girl from last episode as a walker was so sad. Anytime you see a kid walker, it's sad, especially if you kind of know about them a little bit. That walker they have tied up unalive itself? Quite possibly. I don't know, Seth. So, what are your thoughts on this episode, man? Likes, dislikes? What are your thoughts?
I didn't dislike a lot. I liked. Shut up, YouTube. Be quiet. I liked a lot. There really wasn't too much. There was a little wonky CG, in the beginning, but it definitely looks like they've got a much bigger budget in this show.
And more permissions. Have you noticed that they have dropped more F-bombs in this one episode than, like the last season of The Walking Dead, they started throwing like the occasional F-bomb in, but Daryl said the F word like 3 or 4 times this episode.
Yeah.
And for continuity's sake, I want to be like, did Daryl just learn the F word? Because we didn't hear it for 10 seasons, and now we hear it. But No, I dig it. I mean, I like the direction it's going. I enjoy it. The setting is nice and different. I don't think we've to this point have we ever seen a nightclub in the Walking Dead universe.
No.
I thought it was funny when the little kid was like, "What is this place?" and she's like, "It's a nightclub." I just thought, "Oh God, she's gonna have a flashback and go back to Raven like she was when we got her backstory." Just like, oh my God, sister, what are you doing? Let's see. Liquor Beaver says, drop it in and say that if you aren't on their Patreon, you're missing out. Absolutely. We had a Patreon cast this past Friday, which was a very good one. JP got more real than I think we've ever heard JP ever get. And Matt was, Matt. It was great. It was a good podcast. So definitely check that out if you hadn't checked out the Patreon. Daryl was like a cartoon character when the roof fell.
Yeah, he's a...
All we need him to do now is run through a wall with his imprint still left in it.
Exactly. That's what I thought he was going to do with that burner zombie in the wall.
Just see an imprint and be like, the American was here. Matty Williams says, zombie Moulin Rouge. Yeah, definitely look like it. Drago says, Rick said half the population is gone. Doesn't look like it. Not in Francais.
Yeah.
Well, in their defense, in the last episode, well, the 5th or 6th episode of season 1, Dr. Jenner did say the French held out the longest. So, I mean, I guess, for continuity's sake, for the story, I guess we'll say that, France had a better grasp on what was going on than everybody else. So maybe it, because I used to know the statistic back when I was a Walking Dead fanatic. It was like 5,000 zombies for every one person left was
I thought it was something along 5,000 or 6,000.
Yeah, for like every living human, there's like 5,000 zombies or something. So, I mean, like France has a few more than America, maybe, but we have more guns. Ironically, we have more guns, and apparently our population is shredded compared to the French that are still using muskets.
Better guns than the French.
Oh no, but so Seth, how do you see this show ending? What do you think their end game is? Because we know Maggie and Negan, that's the Dead City is getting a season 2, so they clearly we're probably hoping for that. Where do you think we're going to have a season 2 of this? Do you think he's going to get back to America by the end? What you think?
If Maggie and Negan get a season 2, then Daryl should get a season 3. I think that we're gonna get. He's gonna get off the island, or well, not island, but he's gonna get off of the continent of France. Is that a continent? No, country.
Yeah,
he'll leave the country of France, but I don't think he's gonna make it home to America just yet.
Well, I mean, from a writing standpoint and hoping for season 2, which means they make more money, I'm sure they'll probably leave it open-ended to where it's like, he's in America, but oh no, here's this other thing that's going to keep him from getting back to the Commonwealth.
Oh no, he washed ashore again, only it's England.
He's in Britain.
Jolly-o.
Somebody's going to walk out. They're going to see him on the beach and be like, it's Tuesday, isn't it?
Top of the morning, Governor.
Would you like a bottle of water?
A bottle of water.
I'm so sorry to all of our English listeners. My apologies. I mean, I know y'all talk shit about us Americans behind the scenes, so it's okay. It's right. It's fun jousting. Speaking of jousting, I had to do that for a work event Thursday. We did actual. You had to stand on a 2x4 and balance, and you had to joust people.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience. First time I've ever done that. I will say, several years, quite a few years of martial arts training really came in handy for that. With the focus on stick fighting. I'm calling it Dr. General will return this season. It's wishful thinking, but like how he blew himself up.
Maybe a callback.
Maybe like they'll have a well, they already had a flashback with Dr. Jenner in the world beyond, so yeah, it's definitely possible there'll be like some video logs or something from him, But I mean, but then again, I don't know. Troy's alive in Fear the Walking Dead, so I guess no death is. We're in comic book territory now.
Yeah. Speaking of comic books, did you like how the music zombies were set up to play music? And
so, my daughter watches this with me, and maybe I'm a horrible parent. I'm sorry, but my 4-year-old loves The Walking Dead. You know, I explained to her it's all fake. This is pretend. They're actors. They're just playing. Those aren't. I mean, I try to do the parent thing, but she, you know, like whenever you can get time with your kid, you want to take it. And if she wants to come downstairs with me and watch The Walking Dead, I'm not going to say no. I mean, any chance I get to sit on the couch with her and watch a show, I'm going to take. And during that scene where the zombies were playing music, my daughter was like, zombies can't play music. And I was like, well, they can when they're attached to the right strings.
Yeah.
But no, I thought that was a cool scene.
Well, the reason why I brought up comic book was, do you remember when they met Princess in the comics? That she had people situated up throughout the town. And like she could come, oh, hey, Bob. Hey, Frank. You know, and there were people like sitting at a table, like an outside eating establishment, restaurant, whatever, and they were like stuck in a position.
Yeah, kind of like I Am Legend with the mannequins, except for with zombies.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I imagine if you lived in a town by yourself, you have to do something, because I mean, we're even the people that are like, oh, I hate people, I'm very introverted. Yeah, when the world ends and you're in a city by yourself, you'll freaking crave human interaction. So I guess we would probably find any way we could to feel like the old days. Let's see. Jay Scarf says Isabel is such a great character. Yeah, I like it.
She's multidimensional, because you know that she's got a history. You know that she's trying to be a better person, and yet she's probably going to be like another Carol, where she can kick a bunch of butt too.
That's always like my favorite characters in stories, though, the ones that are trying to be different than they were, but the situation's always trying to get them to go back to the way they were. So yeah, definitely, I could definitely see her being a French Carol. She'd be like, would you like some, what kind of cookies did Carol make that time? Like acorn cookies or something?
I don't know.
She made some cookies that sounded not that great, but people were saying they were pretty good. But yeah, she'd be like, would you like some croissant cookies? Let's see. How does Daryl take on this group? They seem savor-ish. He's alone and with limited weapons. He got that musket. I mean, for Daryl, a musket should be very appropriate. He's used to a weapon that you fire once, then you have to spend 30 seconds reloading.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though the Walking Dead producers, made it look like firing across, especially the scene where Rick leaves the show. It was just like Daryl was flinging arrows like the thing had a magazine on it. But yeah, if you ever shot a real crossbow, they're not easy to shoot fast. You shoot one and it's not that easy. I can't wait for I Am Legend 2. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I didn't really feel like it needed a sequel, but we'll see. Seems like Quinn is going to join Daryl and Isabel to protect his son. Yeah, maybe, especially since the French guy wasn't super nice to him when he came in. Quinn, he's got more of like a English accent, doesn't he? I don't feel like he sounds quite as French as the rest of the others.
I don't know. I'm not a language expert.
Was that all right? So on the ship, when the kid was like, "I hate you both," that was the special kid, right?
Yes, maybe Ellie of the Walking Dead.
And why did he come to because maybe I missed something, and I probably did, because I was entertaining a 4-year-old while watching this. Why does he hate them now?
Oh, because the guy that, like, the boss in the nightclub, that's the guy that she threw out of the car and drove off.
So he hates them for doing that guy wrong.
Well, no, that come to find out, that's his dad.
Right. But his dad that he I don't know. I guess I could see the peril there, because it's like, I want to be like the dad he just met tonight, but then again, he probably would have met him a lot sooner. had they not thrown him out the car.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like typical kids, like, I hate you both. And then just runs off.
Yes.
No, I'm not looking forward to those days. Right now, in my 4-year-old's life, I am one of the coolest people on the planet. I'm not looking forward to the days when I am not, but I know they're coming. Damn, I'm out of water. But no, I thought it was a good episode. I mean, we got 3 episodes left for this, and then Rick and Michonne is hitting the screen. 2024?
Only 3? Like 3 episodes left? That sucks.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was only 6 episodes.
I think I could be wrong, but I thought like all of these miniseries were 6 episodes. Let's see. When does isn't the show called like The Ones That Survive or something?
I don't know.
It's scheduled to premiere in 2024. So yeah, it will be a while before we see it. Well, I don't know. I mean, we are almost in October, so let's see show.
Oh yeah, Fear's in October.
Yep, just 6.
Yay, Fear.
I've got to catch up on Fear, man. I feel bad being as behind on it as I am. It lost me again. Fear is like it's like an ex that you have an on again, off again relationship with. Like you watch some of it and you're like, I'm done. I'm just not entertained. And then like for some reason you get back into it and you're like, oh, this is great. I've been missing out. Then it gets back to that lull again. And you're like, son of a gun. Like I'm just not into this.
Yeah. It's just not. Ugh.
Now Slippin' F2 says, but he doesn't know that's his dad. Yeah. Did I miss something?
Yeah, he overheard them talk about it.
Oh, okay.
That's why he come around the corner and was like, I hate you guys.
I hate you guys. Let's see.
I think that he thought that like he was supposed to be something special because nobody knew who his dad was. And like now it comes out that his dad is like this crime boss and he's kind of like, oh, I'm not that special, I guess.
So I hate the 2 people that are working the hardest to keep me alive.
Yes. Kid logic.
Screw them. But yeah, that guy. All right. So Seth, did you ever back in the day, did you ever play Call of Duty?
Hit or miss. I didn't start until Black Ops 2.
Well, that was a good one. To see, I'm an OG. I started with Modern Warfare back when PlayStation Online was free. Modern Warfare 2, one of the GOATs. I love the original Modern Warfare 2 online. Black Ops Online was great. World at War was okay. But like if you like find people that used to troll on there was this guy that did an African accent. And what he would do was if you like schnit talked him, he would basically like hack your account, figure out your address, your name. And so like he wouldn't do anything to you, but you might be trash talking him and he'd be like, keep on talking, Seth Scott. And you'd be like, how do you know my name? And he'd be like, I will come see you at so-and-so. He'd name your address and be like, if you do not apologize for your actions. But he's spoken like, and I'm doing a terrible African accent, but he's spoken like a very African accent. And I swear, if you look that guy up, that guy sounded just like the guy from the episode tonight. Like just like it. I was like, did this guy used to troll people on The Ones Who Live? Okay, let me see. I think I put like Those Who Survive or something. The Ones Who Live premiere. Let's see if we can get a specific date. And just 2024. Nobody can say exactly when.
Is that what the Michonne and Rick?
Yeah, 2024.
Okay.
They don't have a specific date as to when in 2024. Hopefully,
I was just meaning like the name of it.
Yeah, The Ones Who Survive. Although, I'm sorry, The Ones Who Live. The Ones Who Live, not The Ones Who Survive, which would explain why I couldn't find it when I was Googling it. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. I'm enjoying the Daryl Dixon show. I stand corrected. I think I had said before this show premiered that I didn't feel Daryl was the kind of character because, sorry to all those that love him, but the Daryl centric episodes of The Walking Dead are some of my least favorite. And I just didn't feel that Daryl could really carry a show. Not that Norman Reedus couldn't. I think Norman Reedus does a fine job. Just Daryl as a character. I mean, I think some characters work really good as side characters. Like they don't really carry episodes on their own, but when they're with the right people, they're fantastic. And I thought that was Daryl. But I mean, I didn't dislike Dead City, but I think the Daryl Dixon show is better.
Yeah. I didn't. That was hard. It was hard to follow.
Well, it just felt, I don't know. At least with the Daryl Dixon show, in my opinion, I feel like they have a story they're trying to tell. Somebody does, and the writing staff has a direction, and it's a cool change of scenery too. I think they thought it would be that way for New York City, but like France is just so drastically different than what we're used to seeing. It's almost medieval. I feel like I don't know, maybe it's a different setting, but I'm digging it. Daryl's doing good without his Rick.
Rick.
Old Dare Bear's out there just doing his thing somewhere. I'm still looking for you, Rick.
Yeah.
But I want these to start connecting. Like I want this show to end with some connection to the Rick and Michonne show. I was very disappointed that Dead City didn't end with some kind of connection to Rick and Michonne or Daryl or something. I mean, it would have been dope if like they would have ran into, because I mean, like New York City is a coastal area. Like, maybe like that was his departing point. And I don't know. I just in my mind was thinking like Daryl was going to show up the last episode, and then we were kind of going to get a glimpse at him leaving, like some connection between these.
Yeah, and there was really no real reason for him to be out on a boat. Like he just was on a boat.
I pissed off the wrong people, Rick. I'm sorry. Drago says, I haven't seen Fear since they were at Victor's place. It's just not interesting. That's the last season I saw. The last I saw, Victor Strand still had his tower that he was throwing people off of. He kind of went, if you watch Game of Thrones, he kind of went the Daenerys route. Like they always hinted that Victor Strand was a wild card, but I feel like he just went way too evil in the season where he had the tower. I mean, this dude was just throwing people off of a roof that disagreed with him. So I don't know. I mean, Seth's going to hate this, but now that Madison's back, I kind of just want to see it just to see what the story is there. And I've got to know how Troy survived being bludgeoned to death by a hammer and then floating away into a dam that then exploded. Like Troy didn't just get killed. He got killed multiple times over. And somehow he's back going, I need to know about Pedro. No. Is it Pedro? What is the thing?
Well, like I said, I don't. If Matt is that chick still around?
Which chick? Charlie.
Charlie.
She was last I watched.
Oh, well, see, I would have been totally okay with Madison coming back if she'd have got iced.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you think like, hey, you killed my son, so
yeah, pow, done. That's it. I would have been like, okay, you're good.
Yeah, well, I'll never, and I know the actor wanted to leave the show, so I know they had to do something, but I just remember that episode in season 4 was probably the most shocked I've ever been on any episode from the Walking Dead universe ever. Like, I just remember, like, when she shot him, I was like, no. And then he's laying there gasping. I was like, oh my God, Nick is dying. And it was like, okay, so now you've taken away the most interesting character in the show who he wanted to leave. So it's not the writer's fault. Padre. That's what did I say? Pedro. It's Padre.
Dude, slipping F2. Troy got hit in the head with a hammer twice, exploded, drowned, and he's just okay.
I don't know. I don't know how they're going to explain it. I mean, like, it's like Madison's death coming back, I can accept. The last we saw her, she was in a community that was on fire, and we just assumed she burned to death and sacrificed herself, but like we didn't see it. So her coming back, I can deal with that. But Troy, we watched him get bludgeoned to death with a hammer, and then he floated unconsciously into the water, which then circulated through the dam, which in and of itself should have probably killed him. And then that dam he was circulating through exploded. And now he's just like, hey, what can you tell me about Padre? First off, how are you alive? Let's see. I'm here and ready to throw some folks off a roof. Coleman going somewhere. JP's not here for you to hate on. I think Coleman needs to redirect his hate towards Matt because JP's not really doing Walking Dead podcasts. But as I said earlier, if you're just joining us, if you want to hear from JP, I've got a really good podcast I did with him this past Friday night. Actually, that was a good night. JP came over. We grilled. Well, not grilled. Sorry. We cooked some steaks, had some steaks, had a few drinks, and it was a good Patreon cast. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I still haven't got a chance to listen to it yet.
There is one moment where Matt, you just have to listen to it. Just remember Matt going in circles, and then know that, and then go into it and listening, and just wait for JP to speak. It was great though. Everybody was.
J Scar, when they're recording, I'm live.
Yeah, we usually do it. We usually record them on Friday nights, and Seth is live on his own podcast. I've had Seth on the Patreon cast though.
Yeah, several times.
We talked about his your disdain for Christmas, right?
What? I love
was
Christmas.
that you? No, I'm sorry. It was the exact opposite. No, Seth loved Christmas, and then I immediately had Matt on the Patreon cast like the next day.
That's right.
Matt,
No, it was that same day because that's the day I lost power and had to go home.
Yeah. I had Seth on and was talking about how excited we were for Christmas, how much he loved Christmas, and then Matt comes on like the same day and is a total Scrooge and was like, Christmas is pointless and stupid. I hate it. It's like, damn, I had Seth on here like a few hours ago, and we were talking about how much we loved it. JP is a good Christian boy. Matt seems like my type. Hey, holla at him. Oh, it was interesting. We got done with the podcast, and then we just had this giant theological and physical, like philosophical question of like, what's the point of life? And I told Matt, I was like, he was like, I mean, some people need to know, like the answer. And I was like, I think with some people, I don't think that anybody can tell you what the point of life is. I think that's something you have to figure out on your own. Everybody has a different reason to be here. Maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your career, maybe it's your art. Everybody has a different thing that keeps them going. He was like, see, you're just so much more harsh and tough love than I am. I was like, I don't think that's tough love. I think it's just, it's the truth. I mean, I feel like I went to college for 2 years for psychology. And I mean, I can tell you right now, no psychiatrist is going to tell you what the point of life is. They're just going to ask you questions to help you figure out what your point of life is. But it was an interesting night. Like the podcast conversation, I can tell you a little behind the scenes, carried on for like 3 hours after the podcast. Fuck. Ooh, shit. Well, there goes the monetization. FBs and get money is the point. I mean,
we're after 15 minutes. It's okay. Just don't tell Matt and them.
I bet. But yeah, wrapping it up as we get to the 30-minute mark. I think this was a good episode, Seth, so far. Let's say on a scale of 1 to 5. I know sometimes it just depends on where I am mentally. Sometimes we're 1 to 10, sometimes we're 1 to 5. But on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, what would you give the Daryl Dixon show thus far?
All right. You take a guess at what I'm going to say. I've got my hands in it. Really?
Yeah.
No. 4.5.
Okay. All right. I hear that. I was just guessing yours. I was going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Just in the sense of, because we're not done yet. I mean, they could definitely screw the pooch in the last 3 episodes, but thus far, I was going to give it a 4 out of 5 star. You give it a 4.5. That's good.
Yeah, I really like it.
That's one of the
It's
highest
not. I
ratings
mean,
I've ever seen you give.
I know. Without that little bit of a section tonight where I drifted off, it was good. It's all been really good. I got kind of lost in having to read subtitles and whatnot, and I ended up like looking around and doing it, and I was like, oh, my phone went off. Yeah, let's see who it is. And I just kind of stayed there, and I was like, wait a minute, no, put my phone down. So I don't know. That's kind of why.
What's funny is I've got this huge, like, I don't even know what size it is. It's like a 75 or 80-inch TV in the basement I was watching it on. And like to get the picture right, I have to put it on like Zoom or Expand or whatever so it fills the whole screen. So half the subtitles were cut off. So I was just guessing by the tops of letters at what they were saying.
That sucks.
So I definitely feel you. I mean, I can do it the normal way, but then like, I mean, it's like cinematic. So it's like half the screen is just black on the top and the bottom, and I want like the whole screen. So, but no, thus far I am enjoying it. I'm excited to see where it goes, and for the love of God, I hope it connects somehow to like give us some Easter egg to Rick and Michonne. Like, come on, the Walking Dead universe is dead. This is keeping it going, so let's get some kind of Easter egg at the end.
Now that we're halfway through, like, please, Daryl Dixon, don't let us down. Like,
right.
There's been a lot of good times. Well, not a lot, but in like Fear the Walking Dead, season 4A was fantastic.
Yes,
season
it was.
4B sucked.
So. I mean, they had me like devoted there. Season 3, phenomenal, right?
Yes.
Like season 3, phenomenal. Loved it. One of the best series of anything in the Walking Dead universe by far. And then season 4A continued very strong, was like, damn, this is good. And then 4B just goes right down the toilet. It's like, oh, come on. So I'm with you. I hope.
I mean, dude, it felt like they had a different like showrunner.
Definitely. I don't know, but it almost feels like with that show, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, they're like, hey, Seth, you get to direct the first half of the season. Justin, you can direct the second half. Matt, you get to direct next season A. And random guy on the street, what's your name? Billy, you get to direct 5B.
Yeah.
So, okay. It's definitely a show that has been trying hard to find its identity.
Yeah, Slippin' F2, I am not a hater. I am just very passionate.
Well, the good thing, I give Seth a hard time for being hard to please, but the good thing is, when you've got friends like Seth, when they tell you something is good, you want to check it out really bad because you're like, well, if Seth likes it, then damn, it's got to be good. So I've got another friend that's very similar to that. He's just very critical of cinema in general, whether it's a show or a movie. And I've always given him a hard time for it. But whenever he's like, man, you got to check out the new so-and-so, like I am legit going home that night and watching it. Because if he says it's that good, it's got to be at least pretty damn good. So nothing wrong with having high standards.
Yeah.
Seth ain't no holla back girl. You got to make him work for it. You got to work for it when it's Seth.
Yeah.
He ain't just throwing that out to any show. But yeah, let us know what you thought. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Also, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/thepodcastingdead. We miss a Friday here and there. Like I was at the beach last Friday. So, you have things pop up, but pretty regularly on Fridays, we are recording and posting new Patreon cast. JP's on there, and also on there, JP's got a whole new podcast with a girl named, what's her name? Alex?
I think it's Andy.
I've not met her yet, but they have a podcast that they do. And that's available only on Patreon, where they talk about conspiracies, I think.
And Rumble.
And Rumble. We're on Rumble too, thanks to Seth.
Hi, Rumble. We're live right now.
Rumble. Thank you
the
for
two people watching. I think I'm one of them, but
it's you know what? I don't believe those numbers because I'll see like 6 people here watching, but then as soon as I sign off and pull the video up to check the quality of the audio, it'll be like 43. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure. Andy is awesome.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm sure if JP listens to her, we'll podcast with her. She's got to be at least pretty cool. So that's only available on Patreon. So make sure to subscribe. If you don't like me, well, hey, guess what? There's plenty of JP on there too. So subscribe to Patreon. It helps us out a ton. I'm trying my damnedest to get JP a little studio built because the radio station he podcasts from, the audio file in me, it drives me nuts because their compression is off. There's a lot of the noise gate is god awful. The noise gate is not. I want JP to be able to podcast from home instead of using that danky old studio, which is not sounding good. Like it, I have my home, like I listen to our Patreon cast and then I listen to the first few seconds of him and Andy. And I was like, oh, if I was at that station, that would not be, because I used to work at that radio station and I left like 3 years ago. And like, I would instantly have some technician in there working on our processors because that noise gate is just not, it's doing the opposite of what it's supposed to be doing. So, Patreon helps.
Yeah.
Patreon
your audio, like, I don't want to say analness, but you being so like attentive to the audio sound is rubbing off because I was like, I heard it the other day and I was like, ugh.
Oh yeah. That's why I used to send Seth audio files when I would be, and I still got to tweak the processor on this. I'm using automatic settings on this one just because I hadn't had a chance to really, because it's so detail oriented. I'm talking compression rate, noise gate, bass. It's more than I have time to sit and tweak. When we set ours up at the station, I think we were there for like 8 hours tweaking every little sound till we got everything right. And now apparently it's gone down the toilet because we did that back in 2010. So, I mean, my God, it's a 13-year-old setup. But yes, no, I would send Seth audio files and be like, does this setting sound better than this one? He's like, I don't know. They sound the same to me. And I'm like, but they don't to me. This one has more bass. This one, the noise gate clicks in a half a second before it does on the other one. But yeah, welcome to the world of being an audiophile. Let's see. Before we go, 3 years. I remember when y'all did podcasts there. Time flies. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been 3 years since I left the station full time. And
I even gave that studio once.
You did? Yeah. It sounded good back then. I don't know what's happened to it. I mean, like I said, so my goal with Patreon is to build it up, bank up some savings in Patreon, buy JP the exact same setup I have here, a Rodecaster Pro 2 or 1, both sound phenomenal. A decent mic, like a pod mic, a Rode pod mic, or SM. I want to give JP a good setup. So your Patreon dollars help that happen. So go check out. I'm glad
I jumped on that Rodecaster 1 before you got that idea.
Yeah, no kidding. Because if you wouldn't have bought it when you did, I'd have probably been like, "Here you go, JP."
Yep.
No, you can't go wrong with the Rodecaster Pro 1 or 2. I think the build quality of the 1 is better. I like that it's all metal. It feels more solid. This one feels a little more plasticky, but it does have a lot more audio settings. But neither one are a bad choice. Both sound phenomenal, and you should not go with anything else. So anyways, that's going to wrap it up. I'm rambling. Here we go, talking about sound. I'll keep you here all night. I'm Justin. That's sexy mofo right there. That's Seth. And Seth, you want to throw up a link real quick for your channel so they can go find the men's room?
Yes. Copy, paste, bam. Thank you.
So go check Seth out. I'm going to leave it up there. We're going to stay here for like 10 seconds so you have time to copy and paste that. Go follow them. They go live every single Friday night with a wide cast of characters. It's a great show. Every once in a while, if I get enough of a buzz, you might see me pop in there too. So go follow the men's room, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next week. I'm Justin.
I'm Seth. See you.
We're the Podcasting Dead. Bye-bye.
Bye.